Icewind Dale, home to the most hardened of frontiersmen, pioneers, and nomads. Beyond the sporadic dots of civilization dwells terrifying beasts and deadly monsters. Each night, before midnight, Auril takes to the sky and weaves her spell of ice and darkness. For 2 years, the north of Faerun has been covered in everlasting rime. From Dugan's Hole to Lonelywood, from high atop Kelvin's Cairn down to Mare du Walden. Hungry and cold, the population of Icewind Dale huddles together in empty homes, praying to the gods to end Auril's reign. Their prayers were answered. Heroes summoned by fate have vowed to break the Frost Maiden's spell.
I was almost muted. Hello, everyone. It's been some time. I am Simon at Wandering DM. Welcome back to the channel. A big thank you to Chris Geary, who helmed Wandering DM while I was gone. And a big thank you to all the players and GMs that played games here on the channel while I was away to rest my throat. I am better now, though I will still be coughing a bit. Nothing that I can do about that at the moment. That said, we are playing tonight Dungeons & Dragons. We're playing our Rime of the Frost Maiden campaign. Thank you for the sub. And last we left off, we were in front of Revel's End prison. The group was about to enter, but before we go back into our story, let's just go around the table, introduce our cast of characters for tonight, beginning with our local priest and all-around shiny person, Etten.
Hello, I'm Etten, and I am basically the God Lathander come again. So you should respect and be awed by me. And I am also the town greeter wherever I end up.
Up next, we have our light as air monk, our floaty ninja, Alice.
Hi everyone, I am playing Alize tonight, who is a super awesome monk rogue, and she's also extremely polite and political and kind, and no reason to suspect any fighting to happen this episode at all. We're just gonna talk.
Maybe you will. Maybe that's all I have prepped for tonight. Or maybe the group's ranger and all-around scary bird person has other plans in mind.
Resident bad boy.
Oh, I like that. Hi, Ragnar. How are you?
Trademark edgelord because I hate chaos. Ragnar is the ranger, and he's led them here, and now he is totally not going to lead them to burn the docks because we don't want to burn the docks down and, have a cool, fun distraction like, heist scenario. We want to talk to them like people and not like murder blood bags.
Missing still tonight is Halifine, our werebear monk who disappeared during a blizzard in-game a few days before. And as we start our adventure tonight, we will just flash back a bit to where we left a couple of weeks ago with Sarkia, sitting on the snow, spying through the eyes of her familiar, now turned into a bird. She mentioned, and just to refresh everyone's memory, the prison of Revel's End is built like as part of this sort of giant, jagged piece of stone that juts out of the ground and almost like oversees the cliff that leads onto the sea of moving ice. And you saw that the prison itself was shaped like a star, like a six-pointed star, oddly enough, with two courtyards. And then everything else was covered. There's a giant spire in the middle that goes about 300 feet above ground, the last level of which had light coming out of one of the windows. And Sarkia, we'll begin with this scene of the bird just circling the prison and Sarkia muttering what she sees. And then she says, there's a... I think there's light there. Wait, hold on, let me check. And you just hear on the wind a plonk. And see in the distance a bird falling down and dissipating as Sarkia loses consciousness and will be out for the count for tonight.
Ooh. Sergio.
If we were in a cartoon, she'd have little birds flying in a circle above her head.
Those are not normal birds.
She is, she's concussed, but not necessarily at risk of dying. Though if you leave her outside in the snow.
Oh, well, I guess I shouldn't spend a spell slot. We'll just let her go.
It was nice knowing her. I mean, we knew her.
Alas, poor Yorick. Sarkia.
And just to remind everyone, for those of you who might have forgotten, we ended also last session with Etten speaking straight to Lathander through the talking fish. And if I remember correctly, he said that you would... that if you were to enter to speak to everyone, or use like the diplomatic route, that the result would be wheel.
It's good.
It's a fish.
It's a magic fish.
It's a fish.
It's a magic fish.
I need to fish for the second time. I'm just gonna look down to the unconscious Sarkia with my frustrations because clearly they're just venting to the air.
What happened to Sarkia, Etin?
Well, I believe there was some sort of backlash from what happened to her bird over there, and the psychic link between the two caused her to short circuit.
How long do you think she'll be like this? Can you do something? Wake her up?
Well, somewhere between an hour and 16 days.
I would guess exactly one play scenario.
Okay.
In-
So
In game, probably like a handful of hours. Like the time of a long rest.
she also has a bad cough, I hear. Yeah. is
Yes, that's from the cold.
That,
That's the
Okay.
dragon in her backpack. He's just down underneath. He's underneath her, trying to cough to get air to breathe.
Oh, well,
okay. Well, we should try to stash her somewhere safe and warm, maybe. Not out in the open and in the cold, and then try to go have a chat with them.
so we put a blanket on her head.
Remind me, did you still have one of the dog sled?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we had none of the sledge. Remember, we'd walked up here.
Oh, yeah, right. That's true. You left them behind. So I was gonna say you can lie her down on one of them, but yeah, no. At the moment, you're probably gonna have to bring her inside.
Bury her in the snow.
Head first.
Just bury her in the snow, and she'll be relatively the same temperature.
Yeah. Or,
We'll just have to remember where she is in the snow, so we find her.
if we had a donkey or a goat, we could put her inside of it. The interior
No.
temperature is lukewarm
You
at all
used to
times.
have an axe beak for that.
Okay, so we are taking too much time. We are going to get spotted and we're going to lose our chances to talk to anyone. Ragnar, do you see any signs of Helafine? Anything that you can track, that she's close by, or I don't know, nothing?
And I didn't see her when I was up above, and you were higher than me.
I wasn't really looking for her. Okay, maybe I should have. All right, so we're gonna have to do this, three of us. All right. So we'll just go knock on the door and ask them why they have my friend, and then demand that they give us back.
That sounds like a awfully great, awful idea.
I will tell them I am the god of Lathander, the Lord Light of Lathander, come again to this world, and they should listen.
That
Maybe
also
let's not
sounds
lead with that.
like an awful idea. How about you pick her up, and we'll go to the door and let me do the initial talking.
No, this is my business. I need to talk.
I just need to talk at the door. You can talk about your boyfriend.
Okay, we can go together. But if you say anything to instigate a fight, Ragnar,
I won't say
I will
anything
kill
worse
you
than I am the
myself.
Lathander incarnated. I promise.
okay, let's not give too much out about, who we are and what we've been doing, Etin. But I think we can do this. All right, this is important, you two. We cannot mess this up.
Okay.
All right. And if things go south, then you just watch out for yourself and try to get Sarkia out to safety. Okay.
Like for the winter?
No, I mean, if the talking doesn't work, and then a fight starts, it's very well protected. They do have a lot of people in there. We won't have a chance against them, I don't think. So you just try to get Sarkia out of there. Into
Hey,
safety.
don't worry, the Light of Lathander is with us, and it says we should be fine.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I'm glad.
Just keep her somewhere prominent where they can see. Just throw her over your shoulder.
After much debate, the group decides to, or finally approaches the prison of Revel's End. And you notice the main door. You know, this giant iron door was slightly ajar. And as you approach closer, someone pushes it open with difficulty. And out come three people, roughly human height, dressed in warm winter clothing. The only thing that you can see basically are like their eyes and eyebrows. Everything else is covered in furs. All three of them are armed and armored, though the armor is a little harder to see through the coat, but you notice like around their thighs you see the like scales of a scale mail, and all three of them have a sword, or actually two swords by their sides, a long and a short one, and two of them are holding onto heavy crossbows. The third one, who is basically at the front of this little trio of guards, raises a hand as you approach and shouts out, "You've come a long way, travelers, but I'm afraid that this is probably not the place you think it is."
No. We don't. Like, sort of wave back to them. Like, don't know what this is. No, we got lost in a storm, and as you can see, our companion is injured. We're just looking for some sort of sanctuary relief, and then this place just jutted out of the landscape like, well,
Daisy.
like a daisy of hope.
He adjusts, like, probably like straps under his coat, and says, "I'm afraid that this is no sanctuary. You've come to the prison of Revel's End. I don't know what your business here was if you're only looking for shelter. I'm afraid we cannot provide much. There is, however, a ship docked down by the cliff. They can take you south if you need to go back south. They're leaving in a day."
Well, you have walls and a fire right here, yes? We just need to rest here for a moment before, well, she's probably going to need a little bit more than a moment, but I mean, we just need the walls and the warmth before we can make our way on farther. And the docks don't exactly cry out either to me at the moment.
The two others shift, like, from one foot to the other, a little uncomfortable. And the one in front takes a step forward. Doesn't look any more threatening than he was before, but his suspicion is quite evident. And he says, "And what business would a group of 4 people have this far north?" There is nothing around here.
Well, as far as we knew, there was nothing around here. There was a cabin a number of miles back. And then that storm, I mean, you clearly would have caught up into that storm and swept across most of the area here. But there was the cabin that we were caught up into trying to hold up in as we were making our way around here. And
What my dear companion is trying to say, he led us stray in the snow. He keeps talking about how he can track and he knows his way around the woods and the snow and the north. I'm not from here. I'm all the way from, down south. And it's crazy that I listened to him to search into this, finding the information and the books and the what we were believed to we were asked to believe. So for a couple gold pieces we were going to get, we are in search of this and that, and I don't even know where we are, sir, to be honest. If I knew he was this inadequate in providing direction and guiding us, I wouldn't even have left. But now we are, and you see my dear friend is injured and we don't even know what's wrong with her. We really do appreciate the offer for the boat, we do, but if you could just please at least stay the night here.
He looks to the two other that flank him and raises a hand again. You see, like, he's trying to hold up a finger inside his mittens. Just one moment. I'll go get the warden.
Thank you.
Ooh.
And this one moment goes on for several minutes.
I didn't know that you got us lost.
Well, greedy me leading you astray.
It was very rude of you.
Oh, I wanted to take advantage of you Southerners.
Oh, I'm not a southerner.
No, you're my lovely, helpful hand.
I have two.
It takes a few minutes. Like, almost upward to a half hour before this man comes back out. With a woman who's, while she's wearing a heavy, like, fur cloak, she's not dressed to stay outside for long. A black-haired young human, probably, you think maybe late 20s. She's wearing a white, sort of a white robe over a black dress. Though she's not wearing much in the way of like winter clothing or armor for that matter or anything, you notice that she has around her belt a sort of a holster for wands. She's got two of them tucked away in there. And this Merg told me that you were seeking shelter. I'm Warden Marthanis. I would welcome you here, but here is, well, nowhere. This is a place where some of the worst evildoers of the Sword Coast come to spend their time in in quiet contemplation of what they've done. Ah! It's a right shithole, that's what it is. She just says with a thick dwarven accent. We don't really have much in the way of accommodations, though. I guess since the Lady's Grace isn't leaving before tomorrow night, maybe we could accommodate you in a cell. That's really all that we have, to be fair. And even the guards' room isn't as good as the cells themselves. Everyone should just sleep outside for what it is. Apologies. If you would like to follow me, I can show you where we can spend the night. And she motions.
Thank you. That is very kind of you. The cell you mentioned, all the cells of the prisoners are next to each other. Will be safe, right? Are they are locked? Since you mentioned they are like the worst kind.
Oh, yes, all of them are locked.
Okay.
Not the one we're going into. We're not.
No. And she says no with like a little smile, and then again with that big dwarven voice says, "Unless you killed children."
No. But thank you. This is very kind.
That's the same person saying those things in the two different voices.
Yeah, so I'm I should actually not do a dwarven horse voice tonight. But yeah, basically she from time to time will speak in her like regular sort of calm, maybe a little high-pitched voice. And then just like her demeanor doesn't change at all, but the voice changes entirely. It's several octaves lower. And while it is still common, she speaks clearly with a dwarven accent of like someone who learned common as a second or maybe even third language. But it doesn't seem to bother any of the guards around her.
Okay. Well, we should probably get Sarkia to a bed.
The cells have... Well, she turns to like the two guards with the crossbows and says, "Would you mind fetching our visitors some bedding?" Thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
Like, they leave.
Oh boy, we get to sleep in a prison. I've never slept in a prison.
Me neither. This place looks kind of amazing. It's different. Do you mind if we can we tour?
There's not much to tour, I'm afraid, but yes, I can give you a tour of the prison if you want.
Of course, this is such an exciting job you have here.
I'm afraid our friend isn't going to be awake for a while, probably. Not until she warms and hopefully feels better.
Well, you are free to dine with me if you want.
Oh,
Sure.
I love that.
I know Ragnar and Alice, you have a 14 passive perception. What about Etten?
16.
16. So all three of you...
Oh no, I'm sorry, 14.
Well, still, all three of you would notice that hooked on one of her wands is this little charm, you know, like it's the size of a cell phone charm. So like a thin, silvery chain. And the charm at the end of that chain is a silver harp with a crescent moon in back of it. Ragnar recognize you would recognize the symbol right away. The others, now you're gonna need to refresh my memory a bit. Do the rest of the party know that Ragnar is a harper? Have they ever seen your... Yeah, that's it. They've never seen your symbol. So, for the other two...
Except for the dice bag.
Yeah, well... it's the same... It's the same
Metas.
charm... Yeah. It's the same charm that we saw on the dice bag IRL. But if you want, both Etten and Alize, you can make a history check. DC 10... If you succeed, you will know exactly what this symbol is. Yes, for Alize?
A new, I rolled a 4.
Okay. So Alize, you recognize the symbol as the symbol of the Harpers. You've seen them in You've seen them in and around Candlekeep. You know that a few hundred years ago, well, I should say 150-ish years ago, the headmaster of Candlekeep was a harper himself. He was killed at the start of what they call the Iron Crisis by bandits. So the harper always had like this sort of free pass in Candlekeep. As far as their reputation around the world, the harpers are like do-gooders. They meddle in everyone's affairs, oftentimes for the betterment of the population, but they've also done some questionable things to get to their ends. The harpers like to say that they are for the balance of the world. When things go into one extreme, they will right these wrongs. It's just... It's hit or miss. It depends for what. You know, if a tyrant rises to power, the harpers are gonna put a stop to him. But, you know, if an angel decides to come down to Faerun and spread miracles around, the harpers are liable to kill it. Or, like, banish it. Because it's too much good. So, they're often do-gooders, but, like, they have, like, this shady side of what they do as well. So she has the emblem of the harpers. And you would also know, Alize, with your check, that the Harpers are a secret organization. You know about them just like we know about the KGB in our world. But, like, we wouldn't know the inner workings or who is part of it or not. So it's rare that a member of the Harpers will openly display their allegiance.
And
Like the
quick
little...
question. Oh, go ahead.
The little charm wouldn't be open display. Is that more like a Masonic ring? Like it's just subtle?
Exactly.
Or... Okay.
Yeah, it's the
Ragnar's
type
not
of
wearing
thing that...
anything.
Nope. No, and even that's meta knowledge. But like even when you met your contact in Brinchander, the woman that operated the stables, I don't remember her name at the moment, but Beldora, she didn't display the harp and the moon either.
And do I remember correctly, Simon, when the bird was looking through the windows, did we come to a conclusion that there were like Lord's Alliance in there?
Yes. Yeah, those were
Okay.
the flags. Basically, she's gonna tour like the prison with you, but the room she's gonna bring you to eat in is the room with all the Lord's Alliance flags.
Okay.
It's like their conference room, if you will. And probably the only nice place to host visitors in here. So one thing that you will remark immediately the moment you set foot in the prison, as you pass the threshold, the temperature rises drastically. Remember,
that's
outside,
nice.
yeah, outside it's minus 50 Fahrenheit right now. Inside it's 68 Fahrenheit.
This is
Oh,
how you get
stay.
sick.
But you don't see any fireplaces. In fact, for most of your tour of the prison, I'll let you know right away, there are no open flames anywhere. The prison is dark. Very, very dark. Like, so much so that guards will regularly walk either with lanterns or will have these, like, little wands with the light spell on it. They're basically glow sticks. And they will walk around with that. Yeah, it's a rave all the time. However, the staircase and the some of the corridors that she will bring you through are lit up with wall sconces and adorned with magical flames. So they're not real torches, but like any place that the prisoners aren't allowed to go, you'll have a little bit of light. So she brings you inside. Since you're all on Roll20, I know I unveiled the map before. But basically, you will go through both doors into the main area. So that's the first place she shows you. As you go through both inside doors, she says, you know, the corridor that goes left and right, those are corridors that circle the entire prison, and they lead to outside. That's sort of an in-between area, if you will, that can lead either to the armory, to the courtyards, to what's this one? Like storerooms, privies, those type of places. Then the main area, this giant hexagon of cells. You've got a total of, I'm gonna have to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
22?
17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 25. I count 25, but I could be wrong. Anyway, 20-ish cells. Most of them are empty. She's not going to, like, introduce every prisoner to you. Alright? But as you glance very quickly, you notice that there are at least 6 prisoners currently. Which means that most of them are on opposite walls, like opposite sides of the room, and so can barely interact with one another. Like, if they shout, they could, though people don't tend to shout. In fact, it's very quiet in here.
Is it all
But I
one
get-
level?
All the cells are on the same level. They're on the ground level. Etten might not have visited other prisons before, but as far as, like, jail cells are concerned, they're fairly big. Like, we're talking, like, 20 to 30 foot aside. For the most part, though, they're bare. Completely bare. Like, the beds are just, like, piles of hay and furs and bed sheets. And that's it. Since the place is dry and warm, like, they're not going to die of, like, some disease that they catch because of, like, humidity or water or, like, mold or anything like that. I'm not gonna say they're not mistreated, but if any of your characters have ever seen, well, Alizé, the cells that some of the monks in Candlekeep would lock themselves in to meditate are probably like a fifth of those cells. Like, you had people back home who would willingly stay in places that are worse than this. And this is what we call, or what in the D&D call, the world we would call like a maximum security prison.
As we are walking by, do I see him or no? No.
Yes.
Okay.
He is... Let me just grab a token very quickly. Let's go with the have on top. He is here. Little blue-haired person. So when you enter, she would basically just like show you like half of the room. So go from south to east to north, and then enter the northern door to the middle section. And the middle section, which looks like a bunker, like a stone bunker with arrow slits on each side. Inside is you find like these 7 guards, 6 of them just manning these giant crossbows. Like, we're not talking heavy crossbows, but we're not talking ballistas. It's like in between. The kind of thing that could easily fell a moose in one shot. Like the kind of thing that you would have wanted to have to kill the mammoth had it not already been dead way back in Dugan's Hole. And in the center of this room is a spiral staircase, and that's where she will bring you up to the other levels.
Oh, Simon,
Yes.
just as we were going around there too, did we happen to see perhaps another prisoner of female variety?
I'm gonna have to ask a perception check for that.
Ooh.
Clicked.
Whoa.
Going now. I would be very particularly looking for her.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna use my self-insert anime character for Beldora. Why I'm asking a perception check is because she's not like on the side of the prison that Marthanis is bringing you through, and because it is very, very dark. But you do know, like, you recognize her general shape, and even with the darkness, like, wavy brown hair, you know, almost navel length. Like, none of the other prisoners that you've seen so far have those hair, and this is clearly, like, you know, if Beldora had stayed or had been forced to let her hair grow, it's pretty much what she would look like at the moment. Again, everyone is silent. Not that there is a silent spell, by the way. Like, you can hear people breathe. Like, there's one prisoner that, like, coughs at some point or whatever. Like, it's not magical. It's just no one's got anything to say anyway.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
So as we're going, you know, east to north, to enter that area, like going in front of his cell, Eliza would make sure to say something loudly or laugh, like, you know, in the middle of the conversation, and would try to listen in to see if she would hear any movement, like shuffling of feet or like him being alerted to the fact that I'm there.
There's no shuffling of feet, but there is the soft whisper of like the same prayer.
Okay.
You didn't hear it before you said anything. But after you spoke, you heard him speak his mantra again. But like, barely audible.
This is the one that she heard through the stones previously.
Yes. Why do I not have his sheet over here?
Lies and myths truth.
I mean, probably because you won't need it. We're just gonna walk out, right? Right?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Or he'll die.
Don't need sheets for the dead.
Whoa!
We will do all the proper rites, don't worry.
Oh no!
What was his name again? Because since I'm creating the page, I can't go back into the notes. It's Im something.
Nilin. Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Rinil.
True love.
Rinil. I got him. Rinil. All right. Yeah, he's.
I
on
call
Legend
him Bay. That's why.
Here, I'll put that in parentheses so I know.
Real in quotation marks, Bay.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's called. I just know the sound he makes when I kiss him.
So he's you can hear his voice like barely above a whisper. She brings you up the stairs to a through the barracks and up again, and then the second flight of stairs is rather long. Like you're going up like 5 stories in one flight. But then that's where you see from the inside the council room, the hall of absolution, the place with the the long table, the flags, the banners, I should say, like along all the walls, the Lord's Alliance symbol and everything. And that's where Warden Marthanis will say, well, this is the nicest room that we have, actually. So while the guards are setting up your accommodation for the night, you are free to stay here. I would ask that you do not wander around the prison by yourselves. We are not accustomed visitors. Since legally no one is supposed to come visit, the guards can do pretty much whatever they want. So I can try to stop them, but I'm not as fast as a crossbow bolt. Just be mindful of that.
Of course. Thank you. This is really cozy here. Quite warm too. How do you do that? I didn't even see a lot of fire around.
No, that was when when Revel's End was created. As much as these people deserve to be kept away from civilization, none of them deserve to die of exposure to the elements. And also, many of them here, let's face it, they're like noble children or people with political ties, which means that they, if not here, it would probably be kept on house arrest in a manor somewhere. So to them, this place is hell.
I think it's quite cozy.
I try my best.
I am so curious. I mean, it's not a ton of them, right? And you're so far out of in the middle of nowhere. This is very, very, very well built place. For only a handful of prisoners. What have they done? What's their?
Depends on
Why
who
are
you're
they here?
talking about.
I mean, anyone. Like we were just passing by. I saw, I think, two. As we were passing by.
Yes, that would be number 237 and number 454.
Hey, they don't have names.
They have names, but when they're brought in, they keep track of the prisoners through numbers as they take them in and out.
I can see where that would be very efficient.
It's also because that way, if any of the prisoners have a common background or past associations, I should say, they're less likely to know who is what, or who is who, I should say. We
That's fair.
we had a it's 24 cells. There you go, 24 cells. We had more last year, but many of them were released a little before the whole eternal cold situation started. They
Lucky
were
them.
Yes, well, lucky them. Many of them were released to Ironmaster, where they're going to work in the Dementium mines for a couple of years.
Lucky them.
See, right now the two that we have that you saw, Prisoner 237 and 454. Prisoner 237 tried to bring the entire region to ruin.
Ooh, that seems bad.
Yes.
Very bad.
He sought to murder the leaders of the 10 Towns.
Oh, that's bad. Yes. Oh, sorry.
No, it is bad. The only reason why he's here and not swinging from a noose is because he is well connected.
The son of somebody.
You could say that, yes. And the
How many prisoners do you have right now?
6. We're operating at a quarter of our capacity at the moment. Which, with the whole situation, the Eternal Night and all that, is rather reassuring. I don't think we would be able to handle a full capacity prison with whatever is happening around. A lot of the more recent prisoners also were, I think, subject to whatever curse has taken hold on the land.
Oh. You were saying the other prisoner. What did he do?
Oh, 454. He murdered a... Shoot, what's their title? Give me 2 seconds. I need their title. The main monks in Candlekeep, they are called the Avowed.
Ooh.
He murdered 2 Avowed in Candlekeep and then burnt several books.
That's
That is
interesting.
terrible.
Yes, the only reason why he is here the monks of Candlekeep have certain rules when it comes to their precious books, and this one was supposed to be sent actually to Helm's. I was gonna say Helm's Deep. God damn it. What's the name of that place? It's the watch place. It's a dungeon in Watcher's Keep. There you go. It's supposed to be sent to Watcher's Keep. Watcher's Keep is an asylum, basically, because he is not completely himself. However, while on the way to Watcher's Keep, that's when he murdered the two avowed that were with him. He was caught around Luskan, brought here until the Lord's Alliance decide what to do with him.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like he does believe in asylum. Would anybody not be up for taking him to one? It's such a pity because I knew someone once, and she really believed in the balance in the world, making sure everybody would, fall into places where they're supposed to. And if that's where it's supposed to be at, maybe you should send him out to asylum.
You wanna make a persuasion check for that?
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Ooh. She nods at your words and says, well, it's a tad more complicated than that. Candlekeep is not part of the Lord's Alliance. The murders, they occurred on, territory that summarily belongs to the Alliance. Originally, the monks of Candlekeep were going to send him to Watcher's Keep. I figure if someone wanted to escort him south to Watcher's Keep, again, I could send word to the Alliance to just go and get him there instead.
Yeah, I mean, we are headed south with the boat. I mean, you took care of us and gave us a place to stay over the night. You're lending us a boat. That's the least we can do. I mean, there's no way our friend would have survived out in the cold if you didn't let us in. If we could repay you, that would make me feel better about putting you in such hard position by accepting us in.
She looks to each of you in kind, and then to a passed out Sarkia on the table. You all are armed to the teeth anyway. Probably scarred from all of your battles. You look more
At
capable...
this beautiful face.
You look more capable than, the two avowed that were escorting him in the first place. So, she carefully weighs the pros and cons in her mind and replies, let me get back to you on that tomorrow.
Of course. Anything
I-
we can do.
I can understand the desire to help, and I'm very grateful for it. But just want to make sure that you really want to, and it's not just because you feel like you have to because of the situation here. I would say sleep on it. And if such is still the case tomorrow, then I can release him in your custody. I
Course.
assume one of you is a member of the Lord's Alliance, or at least a...
I am a member of the highest Lord's Alliance.
Oh, who is that?
Yes.
Lathander.
Oh, a priest of the Morning Lord. Well then, that settles it. Yes, there would be no problem, provided you, sir, would agree to sign the transfer papers.
Wait,
Him?
Well, it's
I
it's
keep
a
telling you, I'm very trustworthy.
She turns to you, Ragnar, and says, "It's either a representative of either the Lord's authorities, a divine authority,
Yeah,
or
I know. I'm
an
familiar.
approved
It's-
bounty hunter."
No, I understand. Yes, he's very trustworthy. He's always talking to his God.
Yes, I am. And sometimes he talks through me, and I have a
Okay.
giant fish with which I slay
Sign the
evildoers.
papers.
A giant fish.
Oh, yes.
He's also very humorous. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So yeah, he'll sign the papers then.
All right. Well, I will go downstairs and see to it that food is prepared. I hope you're okay with root vegetable stew. That's all we have.
That sounds
Might I
fun.
offer some fish to season it with?
She waves a hand, and there's like this translucent white, like, ghostly glove that just picks the fish from a distance. She's like, I will see what the cooks have to say about that.
I dried it myself.
That's great. What's up, Ragnar?
I was just actually I was waiting to see while she's all doing that, and I just wanted to sort of keep an eye on that charm and her to sort of piece it together to see, is that actually hers? Is it her charm? Does it actually seem like it belongs to her, or does it seem more like maybe a trophy or something she took off somebody? Like, does it look to me like maybe that belonged to Beldora and then not her?
You would know that it doesn't belong to Beldora, if only because you would have seen Beldora's insignia. And Beldora has a brooch. A clasp that she wears normally inside her garment. However, the way she, that Marthanis has been talking to you, and oh, shite, I forgot something. Just imagine that at some point in the conversation, she switches to like the burly dwarf voice thing, and she says mean things about the prison. I'm sorry. It completely.
You got the voice stuff going on. It's all right.
Yeah. The way she talks, the way she holds herself, you're fairly certain that she's like a novice harper. Like, barely initiated. She probably doesn't even know that you shouldn't flash the insignia everywhere. Then again, if she's in charge of a prison,
In the
who's
middle
gonna-
of nowhere.
yeah, who's going to tell on her anyway? Who's going to put her life in danger?
Okay. Well, then,
Um,
as she goes to leave the room, then sort of a few little bit away from everyone else, I would just sort of catch her arm and be like, as you're getting some food, and I'll just whisper a little slightly, it would be lovely if we got a little bit of evening entertainment to go along with our meal, perhaps some music. And then I would just lightly tap her harp.
Oh,
Be like, something we could both talk about in private.
definitely. I would love to have a fellow musician entertain me privately.
Then it's a date. And then I'll step back lightly and let her walk off down the stairs.
You notice her confusion is probably due to the fact that you're maybe the only one, like, you've just reminded her of how to do her job, and you're probably the first person to do that in months. She leaves the three of you up here. By the way, you haven't seen, ever since you climbed up the tower, you haven't seen any guards. So you are left by yourselves in this large room with like this long table, a few windows, like one of which is the one where Sarkia knocked her head against. Nice table, banners, the red and gold of the Lord's Alliance. Is there anything that you would like to do before she comes back?
I just give a big kiss to Etten.
Oh my. I thought we were here for your love.
Yes,
No,
and you were able to, you're gonna make this all happen.
You're
I am.
double murderer, love.
I'm sure he can explain, or I'm sure you've killed more people. Stop judging, okay?
I didn't realize it was a contest.
It's so close. Please don't mess this up. We should just go to sleep right now before anything bad can happen.
I think they might be suspicious if we fall asleep at the table here.
Yes, plus Sarkia is taking up most of the sleeping space, and she has made it very clear she does not like cuddle pies.
But she won't know.
She might.
She's not the only one who doesn't like cuddle.
I keep working on you.
I've died once. I'll do it again.
I'll bring you back. Is there any, like, they didn't try to take our weapons, they didn't do,
Nope.
Like, there's no...
So the way the prison is set up, with the amount of guards that you've seen so far, there's at least 10 of them, right? If you wanted to leave, you'd have to go through, like, that bunker again. Those giant crossbows would make short work of you. They're not afraid.
Would they? Would they?
I mean, look.
People don't break into prisons for a reason. That's
Because there's nothing to steal.
Yes, there is in this one though.
But yeah, they're not afraid of 4 people. That, well, 3 conscious people that just got lost in the
3.5.
snow. But also, the fact that they're not afraid means that they probably have more than what you just saw as means of protection.
I
magic.
told you that old Bitey is always right.
I am
Yes,
not.
I believe in you now. It's in. I mean, I always have, but Oh, it feels so close now. We can just pick him up and go.
Go
They
where?
are giving him to us. Wherever.
To the transfer.
Yeah. Sure.
Because if I sing it, we have to take him there. Otherwise, I'd be breaking my word.
Definitely.
Because he killed two avowed. And
it's bad.
and apparently is not all there.
There's more to it. We'll talk to him. He's a very kind soul, and he did everything he had just to protect me.
I know all about doing whatever you need to do, so yes. Don't need to tell me about it.
If I'm alive now, it's because of him. So
Well, if Alize say he's good, then I believe he's good.
thank you,
Oh.
Ethan.
I believe at least we'll have to put him on a ship and go south.
Yep. We know where we start. Okay.
And yes.
No, I was just gonna say, does Sarkia look any better, or
She's better.
Snoring.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably snoring. She went from passed out to just asleep.
okay?
But the fact that you haven't left her outside, probably good.
She would have lived if we covered with snow. Trust me, I'm a survivalist who leads people astray out in the wilds.
Bad
So what-
navigator.
Just saying, there was a little pop thing that popped up that said Ragnar remembers this.
So, what was that thing you were telling her about?
Dinner. You know, and how to properly dispose of, properly season the fish that Etten so kindly provided.
But you've never shown an interest in my fish before.
Exactly.
Ragnar,
I don't intend to start.
I saw you motioning towards her charm.
Yeah, I quite enjoy her charms, shall we say.
Are you familiar with it?
With her? No, I would like to be.
No, not the charm, the symbol itself.
Alize, I think that he likes her like you like your friend.
I mean, I'm not into this whole relationship thing so much as I am. We're somewhere that's actually warm for a change.
So you'd like to have a cuddle pile.
In a manner of speaking, but I do not want to see any of you involved.
So a
At all.
2 people cuddle pile.
Yes.
That's not necessarily a pile, is it?
Well, I mean, just say if I am not in whatever hellhole prison spot you guys are this evening, please do not come looking for me. I will see you in the morning, hopefully refreshed and on a better mood.
Okay, just don't do anything to alarm anybody, any of the guards, to mess this up for me.
Oh, there will be no guards involved.
Hey. We are still alone, right?
Yes, I was gonna say let me know when you want her to come back. Basically, you have the room to yourselves. There are, I forgot to mention, so aside from the staircase that goes down, there are 2 doors leaving this room. You know where they go because of all the scouting that you did before, so you know one of them leads straight into Marthanis's quarters, and the other one goes to that room with like cabinets and bookcases.
Okay. And so there's the only entrance to those are through the staircase. Like they will have to pass through our room.
Yeah, exactly. The staircase leads into your room, and
Okay.
if you look on Roll20, I don't know if you see where I'm pinging. It's like at the bottom of the map.
Mhm.
So your room is on the left side. It basically takes up half of the tower.
Okay.
So the moment you climb up the stairs, like you have this door that you open, leads you into this like conference room. And then from the conference room you have those 2 doors, one to the north, one to the south. That leads to Marthanis's room and that like clerical office, I guess we can call it that.
Okay, so I'll ask Ragnar to keep watch by the stairs and let me know if anybody's coming. And I want to just snoop a little bit. But very low risk. I don't want to risk anything like getting caught. So, trying to do it very carefully.
Well, I can tell you that the door that leads to her room is locked, and the one that leads to the other room is also locked.
Okay. And if I open it, they'll know. Okay.
One thing that you notice is the door that leads to her room is locked, but it doesn't have a key. And you doubt that it's barred from the other side because short of teleportation, like how could she go back in? So there's probably something that opens it.
Okay.
Whereas the other one, the one that leads to the office, that one has like it's locked, but you see that there's a keyhole like right under
Okay.
the handle.
So I try to figure out if it's, I mean, I don't know if it's magical or not, but I'll try to look for like any mechanisms around to see if it's a mechanical thing, or otherwise I'm just going to assume it's just magical.
You can make an investigation check.
Can I cast Detect Magic?
Yes, you can.
I will do so.
So, with Alize's check and Etin, do you do it as a ritual?
If we have time, I would prefer to, yes.
Okay. So, yes, the door is magically locked.
Okay.
That said, with Detect Magic, you can also sense magic on the other side of the door. And you notice that there is one magical aura on the other side. And it is an aura of enchantment.
Nothing in the other room then? And nothing in our room?
Nothing. Well, the torches in your room are all magical because it's, the magical continual flame torches. Nothing in your room, and enchantment. And nothing in the room to the south.
There's something in there. But we should probably not, right? Yes, we need to save your love. And Alize teleported away.
Oh. Well, then in that case, we're gonna take our break here.
Okay.
How about that? We'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes, everyone. Take some time to stretch. Take some time to something to drink, something to eat. That's what the characters are going to do soon. When we come back, we will have some announcements, and then we'll the game.
Hooray!
See you in a few moments, everyone.
Icewind Dale, home to the most hardened of frontiersmen, pioneers, and nomads. Beyond the sporadic dots of civilization dwells terrifying beasts and deadly monsters. Each night, before midnight, Oril takes to the sky and weaves her spell of ice and darkness. For 2 years, the north of Faerun has been covered in everlasting rime. From Dugan's Hole to Lonelywood, from high atop Kelvin's Cairn down to Mare du Walden. Hungry and cold, the population of Icewind Dale huddles together in empty homes, praying to the gods to end Oril's reign. Their prayers were answered. Heroes summoned by fate have vowed to break the Frost Maiden's spell.
Hey, we are back, everyone. So, before we jump back into our meal with the Warden, because apparently this is what we're going to call this, I would like to just do a quick announcement. You've probably seen it in chat because I forgot to hide the automated messages, but I am proud to announce that I am now a DICE affiliate with Die Hard Dice. You've seen the tweet earlier this week, or was it today or yesterday? Anyway, a bunch of mysterious dice packages sets have landed at my home, and we'll be giving a whole bunch of them away all throughout the summer. So you might want to keep an eye out for that. It'll be tweeted about. There will be other messages, but tonight, since coming back from medical break, also wanted to share that out. So if you go to dieharddice.com, and throughout the month of June, if you use code WanderingJune, you get 10% off your entire order. Let's go back to... Is there any music?
I hear a noise.
I hear noise, but that's about it.
Music's inside of us.
Yeah, probably, but
I thought that was the reward, like friendship and
That too.
Let me get something that's a little quiet. Epic combat music. I don't think I'm gonna go for that. Okay, maybe not that. Well, I'm gonna find something. But that said, as you discuss among yourselves and investigate the two doors that lead out of this room. Eventually, the smell of food alerts you to the return of the warden.
Ooh, that smells delightful.
To which that's what I would rather loudly say, sort of back into the room and sort of also a little bit down the hall is just, oh, that smells lovely.
The door opens almost on cue, and two guards are bringing. One of them is holding this rather sizable cooking pot, cauldron, I should say, and puts it in on the table in the center of the table, and the other one was carrying like a handful of bowls with wooden spoons, puts them down. Marthanis behind them brings a basket of bread and cut up pieces of fish jerky. And one of the guards lifts the cover, the cauldron, and leaves the four of you in the room. Marthanis says, Please, serve. Go ahead. Take whatever you need. You're probably famished after being lost in the snow. Actually, you've asked me a lot about the jail, but I didn't ask you anything about your perilous trek across the tundra. Well, that's because I don't give a rat's ass about what you did. Sorry. Please. Do not mind, Vlax.
Say again. Vlax. Is that a mouse in your pocket?
Nas Vlax Braun Anvil, you daft. That's Vlax. It's complicated, but he's
rude.
Yes.
Listen.
But also he's completely harmless, I assure you.
So you didn't just pick up a dwarven accent from somewhere?
I did more than pick up a dwarven accent. I picked up a whole dwarf, apparently.
Uh-oh. That's strange.
It's... Yes. Something I would rather... Everyone is aware of it here, by the way. It's just complicated.
Our friend Sarkia has a friend in her, too.
Is that why she's passed out?
No,
She's-
unrelated.
Yeah, let's...
It's in. Maybe we shouldn't, dive into her problems while she's not with us at the moment to
She hit her
tell
head.
her side of the story. Yeah.
She's a ghost.
She looks like a ghost right now. Yes.
Very clearly, yes. As pale as a ghost, but she's fine.
No, I
it's
assure you mine is not a head-related injury. A magical mishap, more likely.
Oh,
You
how
want me
did
to
that
try to fix
happen?
it?
I guess. I mean, I've seen a priest of Morden before. Not a priest of... But you know what? Let's keep that for after dinner.
Oh,
You know,
yes, after
in
dinner
case-
activities.
In case Vlax decides to be uncooperative. And then there's just a slew of expletives in Dwarvish. I don't know if any one of you understands Dwarvish.
I speak Dwarvish.
I
But-
do.
Okay, Vlax is tearing the warden a new one when she mentions him being uncooperative. There's some very colorful language in there. and like it's strange because she says it with conviction, and yet you can see in her eyes that she's like so ashamed to be saying that like in polite company. She just can't help it.
Oh dear.
You know what? I'm gonna tell him to stuff his bearded stout with some food instead of spewing that. Then before I take a bite of, or before I start filling my plate with some, I'm gonna put some stew in my thing, and I'm also gonna pour some into hers as I say that. I'm gonna say that in Dwarven, so
Yeah.
he gets it.
She blinks a few times and says, I don't speak Dwarvish.
Don't worry, it wasn't for your benefit. And then I'll just wink at her.
But you just did.
I'll assume you were talking to him. No matter. He's probably gone to grumble and mope somewhere in the recesses of my mind. Thank you. And she nods to you, Ragnar. She takes the bowl. So please
Hold my
tell
bowl
me.
out to Ragnar.
And I will push the ladle over towards his hand. And sit back down in my seat.
Rude.
Hungry, and then I'll start taking some of my soup. Without any fish jerky.
Doubly rude.
You notice, Edna, that half of the jerky you gave has been dipped in cheese.
Ew.
How dare they sully the natural beauty?
This is not what I had in mind.
The cook said that it might create a flavorful mix. Whatever he meant. I think he called it fusion.
I call it an abomination.
So, don't eat it then, Sir Priest. By the way, I didn't get your names.
Oh, how rude. Hello, I'm Etten.
Etten?
You can call me A.
Hey, that's a
B.
rather short name, but
Yeah.
hey, it is.
It's all in the pronunciation, I suppose.
Yeah.
You can call me Ragnar, my dear.
My dear, well. Okay, Ragnar. So please tell me how did you get your friends lost in the storm?
Oh, well, I'm just going to pointedly look at Alize and be like, I'm just sometimes so very, very bad at tracking and maps, and I lost my way in the snow.
And stubborn. So stubborn, too.
There was a storm. It was very bad. When this one hurt herself, it was more about just moving forward. I really wasn't paying attention to exactly where.
And there are, creatures of the night that chase us and all that stuff. It's easy to lose track of which direction you were coming from,
The speaking of unnatural storms, the captain of the Blessed Lady did mention, after all, that they did encounter a sunk, or at least a wreck of a vessel their way up here. So I think the blizzards are also affecting the Sea of Moving Ice, and not just the tundra. I'm I'm glad to see that you're alive. And I applaud your perseverance in the face of these, say, almost like this divine curse or whatever it is that
Oh,
brought to our land.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate your kindness and hospitality as well.
Yes, thank you. But never put cheese on fish again.
Etin.
I will let them know.
Never.
Yes, no, I'm just
Very
glad we made it here.
particular about his fish.
Yes. It's not, you know, we're not a I was gonna say roadside attraction. That's not what I'm looking for. A coaching inn. We're no
Yes.
coaching inn, but
I mean, I truthfully thought we were heading south at some point in the storm. So by this point, I thought we would have been, I mean, all the way back to Tourmaline, or at least close, but obviously not.
that's true. You mentioned a cabin a few miles away.
Some distance away, yes.
Hmm.
On the edge of the cliffs. It was very secluded. It was the only shelter we had found, and as we had trekked up here. And I'll lean in sort of conspiratorially to her and be like, the Southerner, she wanted to be shown around, and it was not too far up from Tourmaline, so.
Would you say it's on the way to Lonelywood? From here?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, it is very much on the way. You
Um,
will definitely run into it if you would make that trek.
Good.
Why would you, though, right?
Oh, sometimes we send out a patrol of guards down to Lonelywood. It's rare. We normally would do that only in the summer. But for, you know, resources, food for the most part,
Foraging.
wood if we need it, we need to. Well, it's more trading than foraging. It's just we normally get what we need through magical means, but with everything that's happening here, I am loath to try any magic that would reach out of the prison, just in case. So if there is shelter in between, that'll be great news for them.
I'd say you can't miss it, but look at us.
Well, I have a map of the region in my office. If you would like to just mark it down on it, I'd appreciate.
Oh, certainly. We can go over it after dinner.
Certainly.
This is delicious, by the way.
Oh, please. These are half-rotten turnips and, well, potatoes that have probably seen better days. But you know what?
Well,
Look, it's what we can offer. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't. I'm thankful
it
that
is
you like it.
warm food.
Warm is the key word.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's.
You were saying. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's. You know, up here we eat the same thing that the prisoners eat. There's no luxury to our lives. Mind you, tonight they'll get a ration of fish jerky. So
They better
Learn that
enjoy it.
slowly. Mhm.
The horror.
You were saying after dinner, you would also talk a little bit more about the what issue you were having with that, the unstoppable language that's just blurting from your mouth. That seems to be bothering you.
Vlax? Yes, he's
Yes.
bothering me. He's used to be an acquaintance of mine. And she pauses for a moment, like almost expecting Vlax to say something. But then as she notices that, nothing happens, she says, we encountered a rather nasty creature on our last adventure, before I was sent out here. There was I don't know how to describe it, really. I cast a spell, something I've done countless times in my life, in a fight against a Tanaruk. And there was a flash of brilliant light, and when it subsided, the creature was gone. Vlax was gone. And then I don't remember anything. And then I wake up a few days later, passed out, in a puddle of my own puke, in a dismal inn in Luskan. I had apparently been on a drinking binge for a week prior. Which, I do not drink, by the way, but apparently I did. And that's when it started. I think, and after speaking to a priest of Morden, I think his soul is inside of me. Dar, ya bet I'm inside of ya. And I just had to make do. It's apparently impossible to separate us. Or, at least, almost impossible. Yeah, the priest told you, you have to go to Gontul Grim. To the tomb of my pa. Yes, well, Gontul Grim is hundreds of miles away. I have work to do.
Wouldn't you rather get this out of you and take like a vacation or something?
Well, honestly, I would rather Vlax's spirit be laid to rest. I don't think he would disagree either. It's just the only thing that we were told would work is to beg the forgiveness of Moradin at his altar in Gontul Grim, which is apparently, according to what I've been told, the most sacred place to the dwarves in almost the whole of Faerun.
So I've heard.
It's also under a volcano, and a tiny part of me is afraid of being under an active volcano.
Oh, bound to be warmer than the ice.
Yes.
It is a very bright idea. You are usually so melancholy. Perhaps, what if you could transfer him into my friend Ragnar, and then we could go and break the spell. Then you don't have to go. And we do you a favor, and then we could, be good.
We're not going anywhere near Gontul Grim, and I'm not capable of holding a dwarf soul.
How do you know?
Just gonna guess. Just gonna assume. because I'm not magical. There's nothing magical about me. I'm just a ranger who's
What if
very
we
bad
put-
at directions.
The dwarf soul into a prisoner, and then we take the prisoner, we get rid of the soul, and then
No. In case, there's the corruption coming from the prisoner's evil mind. We don't want that to happen.
See, she's very wise.
Yeah, you don't want double murderers running about there corrupting dwarven spirits.
Ragnar. Yes. Yeah, but we should help you if we can.
I mean, I appreciate you wanting to help. I've resigned myself to living with Vlax for the time being. If you happen across a way without having to make the trek all the way south to Gontogrim? Oh, wait. But you are going south, aren't you?
Yes.
Oh. Well, then... Yes, if it's at all possible to exercise? She looks at Etten, unsure of herself as she says that. Exercise Vlax for me?
Well,
He's not a priest of the dwarven gods.
the problem there is it might exercise him.
He would only go to where he belongs.
It might just we.
So you're...
I do not believe that I have the spell capabilities to do the thing that you're asking. I am so sorry.
Okay, I was just trying to... Okay. But you could. Like, it is something that priests do?
Oh, yes, the limits of the Fender are unknown. He has ultimate power in this universe, and through him, I am his tool in this universe. So, yes, in theory, I could do anything.
I beg to differ. Moradin could take your puny garden one-on-one any day.
I saw
Bite
what
your
happened to the
tongue,
last
dwarf.
guy who said something similar to him.
I might be able to burn the dwarf from you.
Etten.
Sorry.
I'm
There's
just gonna casually ask Vlax in Dwarven, are you a harp player, Vlax?
What kind of flimsy minstrel you think I am? I play the flute like every self-respecting dwarf.
No business. Just checking, being with our kind host and all.
Oh, you're wondering if I'm one of them harpers.
Hey,
yeah.
Harper.
I would... Yeah, well, I'm dead, so it doesn't matter anymore, but yeah, I was. What's it to ya?
Were you two, what were you two doing at the time of this?
Oh, I thought you were asking something else. Fighting a Tanaruk.
Was it official business?
He goes on to explain very quickly that they, there was a... So, apparently there's a city down south called El Torel. And, He will tell the story in Dwarven, by the way. It takes about 10 minutes for him to relay everything, so during that time, Alize is probably going to wonder what's happening. Because even Marthanis becomes agitated. Like, the more Vlax remains in control, the more she adopts his mannerism. And he talks with his hands a lot.
Hey.
He basically explains that the town of Elturel, the city of Elturel, vanished a couple of years ago. It reappeared. Apparently it's been in hell, in the literal 9 hells. When it came back, it brought with it some stowaways. Both devils and demons that sought to escape the blood war in Avernus. And one of their Harper contacts had found traces of the tracks of a Tanaruk, which is basically it's a half orc, half demon. Like, if a tiefling...
Seems fine.
Yeah, if a tiefling is a, like, quarter demon, Tanaruk would be a step above. The equivalent would be, like, a Cambion if it was with a, paired with a succubus, or, like, anything else. So it's basically, like, a 50-50 demon. And... according to Vlax, Marthanis messed up a spell and killed them both. He has no idea what was happening. In his mind, she was going to cast a spell on him that would make him faster than the Tanaruk they were fighting. But then, brilliant flash of light. Next thing he knows, the Tanaruk is dead. She's nowhere to be seen. So he goes both celebrate and drown his sorrows by drinking. And then he sort of, like, understands after a while that he's in her. But when he looks at her, he sees himself. The hands he's been waving around are his. He doesn't see, like, the slender woman in a white dress when he looks at himself. He sees how he was dressed the day he died. Like, armor and all, everything.
That's disconcerting.
Yes. I've never heard of any magic like this.
Wait, you... Yeah, you magic like this. That's quite the tale. I'll just read it back in the comment. That was quite the tale he just told us about what just happened there. He was relating his perspective of events. Yeah, we're not sure that our friend would be able to help, per se.
Maybe Sarkia would know what to do.
Well, she wasn't. And I'll just look at her snoring.
I mean, maybe she'll be better in the morning.
A good night's rest always seems to do her good. Remember that time she was frozen, and then she slept, and then she was better?
Yeah, sleeping is good for all of us. I could actually use some sleep too, myself. But do you think we should talk to the 454 you said? To make sure he's not going to cause any trouble for us if we take him with us? just to get an idea of, his behavior and psyche.
I mean, you have literally nothing else to do here. If you wish to know about the prisoner before you decide to escort him or not, yes, I can. Though it won't be here, but we have an interrogation room.
Okay, that will be helpful, I think. So we'll know what we're putting ourselves into. I mean, we do want to help you, but you will understand. We just need to be careful.
Nobody wants to be walking around with a crazy double murderer.
Yeah. So at least we can, assess our risks.
Certainly. She looks to Regnar and says, if you want, I can prepare the prisoner for Etten and Alize, and then we can talk during that time. Unless you want to be present in the interrogation.
Elthos looked at Alize and was like, you need me to help with the interrogation? I'm usually quite
No, you
persuasive.
enjoy your time. I think we're good.
Ragnar has a habit of stuffing beards in people's mouths during interrogation.
It's a dwarf.
Figuratively. Yeah, I think we can handle it. Etin is a good judge of character.
Yes. No one can lie to me. It's my honest face and spells.
Then it's settled. Please come with me. Out of game, assuming you're done eating at that time.
Yeah.
And so she will bring you downstairs, down to the first floor, into a room in the back. This one here. So it's, well, actually, not this one exactly. One of the three, like, side rooms. And it's, what you would think of a very basic interrogation room. There's a table, sturdy table with on one side you have just a small stool, and the table on that side, hooked on the legs, are several chains that, chains and manacles that will hold down the prisoner. And on the other side, nothing. Like, you get to stand up, basically. They'd rather have you on your feet and ready for anything, and have them sitting down and bound so that they can't really. Because as the warden will explain, they oftentimes have spellcasters. And some of them are quite cunning, and they will take their time, or I should say bide their time, before, trying to run away or something. So they'd rather make sure that they can't do much, and that the guards are ready to react. There will be a guard on the other side of that door. That's like prison policy, right? So
We'll be able to hear what we're saying.
Out of game, I'll tell you, unless you're careful.
Okay.
But yes, and if suddenly everything goes quiet for more than a few seconds, like, the guard will probably open the door. So you're gonna have to be creative. So you are sent into that room with prisoner 454, and up at the top of the tower Ragnar is brought into the warden's room. To open the door, by the way, she just touches certain like specific bolts on the like metal bands that reinforce the door. She touches a few of them and the door just opens by itself. So with Ragnar in one room, Alize Etten with a prisoner, that is where we're gonna end.
Oh no!
And where's Sarkia's body?
Sarkia will be in the conference room.
Okay.
Or in a way.
So I think the last image we should see tonight, just to torture Tumai a little more, is basically, you know, you and Etten are in the room, and then the door opens, and the guard brings in a blind drow man.
Hello.
Hey.
So, because
That's what I really miss by not being down there.
because I don't want to like go too fast through like the scene or whatever. I don't want to butch it. So next week, which means that probably next week you're gonna have your level.
Okay.
I was like, next week you're gonna get in a fight.
No. It's just it goes through like depending on what you accomplish. Yeah. So did you all have fun?
Always.
It's
You
been
didn't even burn down a dock.
Yet.
No.
Yet.
Stop it, you guys. You don't need to.
the ship is there, ready to take you south if you want to get the fuck out of Icewind Dale. I'm just gonna say though, it's a sailing ship. It's not like a getaway car. So if you try to burn the place down, like the ship takes about half an hour to leave.
So be nice. Be nice.
Or be prepared.
Be prepared.
So thank you everyone for coming back. Thank you chat for hanging out tonight. It's been a while. I'm super happy to stream again. Thank you players. I know we haven't like seen each other in like 3 weeks. So I'm super happy to have you all back for some more D&D. Please, if you have anything that you want to shout out, any projects that you have going on, things that you would like people to be aware of, the floor is yours. Remember, you can post links in chat. We'll do same order as we did the intro, so we will start with Justice.
Hello, everybody. Actually, I've got Fridays off right now, so we've got Tuesdays and Thursdays over on Bard and Barbarian. On Tuesdays, we have Dread Rising, which is a Outbreak Undead scenario, and on Thursdays we have Call of Cthulhu Down Darker Trails in the Old West. And this week we are finishing up season 1 of Iron Dust and Blood, which is the Call of Cthulhu. So the finale is on Thursday, and on Tuesday we are finishing our first arc of I wanted to say Walking Dead, not Walking Dead, Dread Rising, Outbreak Undead. And Wednesday, if you are vampire fans, Diana, who is generally on this, has a channel or the second episode of The Nightlife, which is a Vampire the Masquerade set in Miami over on the Paradox channel, or not Paradox. Follow her on social media and find it. D'Amico Diana. And you can find me as Stashmandu on all the socials.
Awesome. Umai, where can we find you?
Hi everyone, Chimai, and you can find me on Twitter now because Twitter accepts me back. And so yeah, and I might be playing in a VTM game soon, so we'll see.
Fun.
Yeah, excited.
Is it the same VTM that had
Same
been canceled?
people, pretty much, yes, but with a with people who can pretty much organize the schedule together. Finally, we're
Okay.
gonna be able to make it. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
So super psyched about that.
And Justin.
Aha, now I'm unmuted. Yes, I am Justin, aka Pirate Jesus _ on the socials, as someone always reminds me because I forget that part. I am currently here and just out and about on the interwebs doing the things that people do, because why wouldn't you?
And I am Simon at Wandering the DM. Thank you everyone for coming tonight again. You can find me here back Wednesday for our second episode of Malifaux, as I scare my players shitless in a alternate world in the 1900s. Then on Thursday we are back with the Simon Cinematic Universe. We're gonna play Sentinels of the Multiverse, our third episode, and the group has found strange things since the disappearance of all the or most of the world's superheroes and supervillains. So make sure to tune into that. If you've enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's kind of what we are going for, except on a larger scale.
No,
Then-
nobody enjoyed that show. That was awful.
What? No,
No one enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's just...
I don't know what you're
False.
talking about.
Lies.
Yeah, and then on Friday we're back with Cyberpunk, and then Saturday it's Scion, and then I'm taking a break on Sunday. But on Sunday, June 27th, I will be over on Praxagorathus Thesmophoria's channel for my one-on-one flashback session. We've already done 3 flashback episodes each week. So basically, if you want to discover the reason why I'm playing an emo boy, that will be unveiled during that session. That's going to be on June 27th. So thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.